All right, everyone. So today we have an experiment, right? And that experiment is pretty much analyzing three different scenarios. One of the scenarios is a cart that's not moving. The second scenario is our buggy scenario that we've had previously that we've analyzed by hand, but now we're actually going to use analytical software to do it. And then the third scenario is what if a cart goes uphill and then gravity just brings it right back downhill, right? So during those three scenarios, we really want to focus on whether or not that kind of motion is accelerated or non-accelerated, right? So we're going to dive deeper into that analysis, and we're going to use Vernier, right? And Vernier is a software that is actually it's hardware and software that analyzes motions really well. So what I used is what I call this Vernier cart. Okay, so it's just a cart, it has four wheels on the bottom, and what it does is it connects to your computer with Bluetooth. So right now it's flashing green, right? So it shows that it's actually connected to the software from my computer. And what it does, it's actually extremely neat. So let me show you guys what it does. Um, so looking at this is pretty much it. It can create, right? So this software can create both a position time graph and a velocity time graph with very, very, very precise numbers. So what it does, and you can actually see the position down here, when you kind of run it through a surface, right? And I'm just kind of running it. Notice what happens to the position. Right now, it thinks it's moving left because of the fact that I moved the wheels on the bottom. So the wheels on the bottom of this cart, they have encoders, and those encoders can allow the software to understand how far it has rotated based off of the circumference of the wheel. So um, so right now you can actually zero that out and say, okay, cart, think that this position that you're currently on is zero, and then you can move it to the right, you can move it to the left, um, and it will kind of um, analyze uh, the velocity, the position it's in, and the acceleration. So I'm going to go ahead and click collect, and I'm just going to give it a push. So right now you can't see it, but the cart is on my desk. Here, you know what? I can do this. Perfect. So I'm just going to give it a push. It's going to move in the negative direction. So notice what happens when I give it that slight push. I'm going to click select, give it a push, and then it actually, right, it actually um, gives us this data here. And that is the extremely interesting thing. So here, it graphed its position. So it started somewhere in about zero point 0.1 meters from where I said its original position was. And then it figured out which direction it was going. On top of that, it also figured out what the velocity was, right? So it created this graph as well. So it said it moved in the negative direction, and it was about negative 0.426 meters per second. So it can measure, right, the position time graph, the velocity time graph, and the cool thing as well, let's put this back up. The cool thing is that it can also measure, if you put three graphs, it can also measure an acceleration time graph. So it's letting you know how it accelerated, which direction it was accelerating, so on and so forth, right? So we're going to use the software. We did the experiments. I already collected them. I collected the material, and you're going to actually analyze it in a table. And this table is actually even more interesting, right? What it does is it gives you, as time goes on, it gives you the exact positions. And notice these intervals are really, really small. So it's about 0.04 seconds is how fast it's collecting that data. So I pushed it for about 2 seconds and it collected 62 data points within those 2 seconds. So it's very, 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 very accurate. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this software to analyze those three scenarios. And I created those three scenarios and I sent you guys both the video of the scenarios, um, this, the video of those scenarios, and also the data of those scenarios. So now that you have the data, what you're going to do is you're actually going to use Excel to analyze that data. Vernier itself doesn't necessarily give us the right tools to analyze it the way we have learned how to do that from the Buggy Lab, right? So you'll create an Excel document. From that Excel document, you're going to create a graph, both for the position time, velocity time, and the acceleration time. For those three, you're going to have a graph. You'll have a trend line. and you're going to have the axes titles labeled and everything. So that's pretty much what this lab is all about. We're trying to find those three or analyze those three scenarios with the graphs that we've learned how to do in class. If you guys have any questions, again, you're going to be in breakout rooms and you're going to be in the same breakout rooms throughout the entire week. So if you have any questions, call me over. I will definitely help you guys out in analyzing any of the data that you have. Awesome. Make sure you watch the tutorial on how to kind of extract the data from Vernier, because that's a bit of a process. So make sure you watch that, and then if you have any questions, call me over to your breakout room. All right, guys, see you in a bit.